Giants are a mysterious and controversial subject that is buried deep in history. From ancient folklore and mythology to modern conspiracy theories, there are many ideas about whether or not they exist. But modern archaeology is doing a good job of sharpening the image here. In 2003, archaeologists in Iraq claimed to have located the lost tomb, which they believe belonged to giants that roamed the Earth centuries ago. Good research must have a conclusion, and so did this one. Well, not a specific one, but researchers tried to get the answer to whose tomb this might be. One speculation was that it belonged to Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is the ruler of the ancient Sumerian city of Uruk and the subject of history's first documented story. The Epic of Gilgamesh, an epic poem from ancient Mesopotamia, was written on Sumerian clay tablets in the 3rd millennium BC. The story commemorates the life of Uruk's monarch at the time, around the middle of the 27th century BC. Uruk was one of the region's most powerful and long-lasting ancient cities. Although this assertion is debatable, modern Iraq may have gotten its name from this city. In 2003, a German-led expedition reported discovering what was assumed to be the entire city of Uruk, including the famed king's final burial place, which the waters of the Euphrates would have encircled before the river changed course. Jörg Fassbinder, leader of this research, said that he didn't want to state for certain that it was Gilgamesh's grave, but it seemed quite similar to that described in the poem. According to the poem, Gilgamesh is said to have been buried under the Euphrates in a tomb built when the waters of the old river split after his death, documented on a set of inscribed clay tablets. Mr. Fassbinder added that they discovered the remnants of such a building right outside the city in the middle of the former Euphrates River, which could be understood as a grave. He said that modern technologies could have enabled the incredible finding of the ancient metropolis beneath the Iraqi desert. They could peer into the ground by reading changes in magnetization in the soil, and the difference in the Euphrates between mud bricks and sediments produced a very complex structure, a magnetogram. This magnetogram, which is subsequently digitally plotted, provided an Uruk town plan. The most surprising thing was that they discovered architecture replicating what had been previously described in the Gilgamesh epic. But then again, not everyone agrees with the soul theory. Critics of the original theory say that the tomb couldn't have been his since Gilgamesh's existence has never been proven. Instead, many of these people, many of whom are theologians, think it was Nimrod. Let's go back a little during Noah's times and the flood. When the flood waters subsided safely, Noah and his wife Imzara descended from the ark with their sons and wives. The descendants of Shem became the Semites, or Jewish line of lineage. The descendants of Japheth became the Indo-European countries, also known as the Gentiles, and the descendants of Ham became the Canaanites, Babylonians, Egyptians, and Philistines. As we're on the subject of Nimrod, it's worth noting that the account of Ham witnessing and delighting in seeing his father, Noah, naked is a metaphor for Ham's disobedience against God. With this, it's logical that Ham's son, Cush, and grandson, Nimrod, would rebel against God. Nimrod proved to be all of these things and more. Indeed, it could be claimed that persuading others away from God became his life's job, his passion. His reputation as a mighty hunter may stem more from his capture of humankind than from his hunting of wild game. As Nimrod's power rose, he constructed cities such as Erech, which would become the land of Shinar, or Sumer, and the beginning of the Babylonian kingdom. It has been proposed that Nimrod and Ninus, king of Assyria and creator of the city of Nineveh in Greek mythology, were the same person. Even more intriguing, claims have emerged that Nimrod was Gilgamesh. Historians and translators of the Gilgamesh epic's cuneiform tablets agree that the text was written in approximately 2000 BC. In contrast, the content about the countless adventure stories refer to a far earlier period, most likely not long after the deluge. Nimrod and Gilgamesh share many characteristics, and they were recognized as great architects and formidable warriors, were from the same region, and arguably lived during the same period. Nimrod seemed to be obsessed with the possibility of a second flood. He constructed the Tower of Babel, which was most likely a Mesopotamian ziggurat, a pyramid-shaped structure with steps and ramps leading to a shrine on top, hoping to escape the floodwaters. Nimrod was also fixated on something else. He feared that as a descendant of Ham, a descendant of Shem would one day show up and dispute his rule. Abram, later known as Abraham, would be that descendant. There's a possibility that Nimrod and Gilgamesh were the same people, or that the person who wrote the Epic of Gilgamesh used Nimrod as a model. So could it be Nimrod's grave? Well, we might not know. As we dive deeper into the existence of giants, more questions arise. Did a giant race previously inhabit North America? According to an old legend corroborated by various difficult archaeological finds, that might be possible. Many Native American tribes relate stories about a long-forgotten race of humans far taller and stronger than regular men. These giants are depicted as fierce, and legends frequently emphasize their cruelty to whomever they wish. The Paiute, a tribe that lived in the Nevada region thousands of years ago, had a fantastic narrative about the Siteka, a race of red-haired giants. While exploring near Lovelock, Nevada in 1886, a mining engineer named John T. Reed overheard the legend from a group of Paiutes. The Indians informed him that the legend was true and that the cave was nearby, and Reed instantly felt he was onto something when he saw the cave himself. Reed could not begin digging himself, but the word spread, and Lovelock Cave rapidly became popular. Sadly, as guano deposits were discovered within, the attention was profit-driven. In 1911, miners David Pugh and James Hart founded a company that began digging the valuable mineral and soon shipped more than 250 tons to a fertilizer plant in San Francisco. Any artifacts that were discovered were most likely ignored or lost. Strange items began to emerge after the surface layer of guano was extracted. This prompted the University of California to conduct an official excavation in 1912, followed by another in 1924. Thousands of artifacts were collected, some of which were extremely extraordinary, according to reports. These mummies, between 8 and 10 feet tall, were called the Lovelock Giants. A huge handprint embedded on a boulder inside Lovelock Cave is one piece of evidence that remains on site. Around the same period as the second Lovelock Cave excavation, another unexplained discovery was made. According to a 1931 report in the Nevada Review Minor, 2 massive skeletons were discovered buried in a dry lake bed in Lovelock, Nevada. The gigantic remains were mummified like that used by ancient Egyptians, measuring 8.5 and 10 feet in height. The appearance of red hair is another feature shared by these gigantic mummified remains and those unearthed as far south as Lake Titicaca. While some experts believe the mummy's reddish color is due to interaction with the environment in which they were buried, they confirm traditions about the Siteka and their kin as red-haired giants. Some historians say these violent giants were the biblical Nephilim, the forsaken progeny of the sons of God and the daughters of mortals. If this is true, we have a slim probability of seeing any of the huge mummies. People who want to keep history hidden will never reveal their whereabouts. Anyway, could these giants be related to the building of Stonehenge? For centuries, archaeologists and historians have been baffled about who built Stonehenge. The monument, located in Wiltshire, England, is made up of massive stones, up to 13 feet tall and 30 tons. Despite extensive research, there's no conclusive answer about who built Stonehenge. Some believe Celts built it, while others believe ancient Egyptians or aliens built it. However, the most widely accepted theory is that Stonehenge was built by prehistoric British people who used primitive tools and techniques to transport and erect massive stones. While we may never know who built Stonehenge, the mystery surrounding it continues to captivate and inspire us to this day. Questions that arise from topics like these are mostly answered using one word: aliens. And could it be true? If you think about it, how easy was it to lift 30 tons of stone in ancient times? And not just lifting, but crafting something like Stonehenge. That's a thought that we're going to leave you with.